Hey everybody, welcome back to the Blushing Nerd Tarot. So it's been a while since I did a pre-recorded video. I've been doing some lives lately as I get back into the Tarot 2 world. But I saw a tag go up earlier today that I thought would be really a fun way to round out the year. I really enjoyed watching the video, and that tag is Memorable Decks 2022, put out by Dawn Michelle at Boho Tarot. So thank you very much for doing that tag, Dawn. Really a great way to end the year, and I'm anxious to see how others respond to this one because in some ways it's a little bit. Pardon me while I light my incense. I did forget that earlier today. But in some ways, this is one of those interesting tags that doesn't require a certain point of entry. You know, you can come at it from basically any angle, and come in with new decks, old decks. It really doesn't matter. You know, anything that, as she put it in her video, and I like the way she worded it. It's a deck that you had a moment with, um, and so there are plenty of those, plenty of examples there for me throughout 2022. And at first, I was thinking, well, how is that gonna be difficult to come up with? Maybe it's if I'm thinking about it as, moments that I had personally, maybe in a reading for myself or, how can I look at this? Well, then I started looking at my decks and they all started jumping out. You know, so many examples throughout the year of interesting things that happened and decks that really, played that part for me. Um, so to get started, um, I'm gonna start with one that has come up, frequently on my videos, especially early on, uh, and it's a deck that still kind of holds a place for me as maybe it's not a soul deck for me like I initially felt it was, but of course things are going to come in and out of that role. Um, but this, in fact, bear with me a moment here. So, um, this is Pagan Otherworlds, and Pagan Otherworlds has obviously gained uh, a lot of um, mention in Tarot 2 for quite a while, and certainly is it's worth it. It's a very it's a great deck, and I think certainly a lot of inspiring artwork, a lot of work went into this, and it makes it quite a gem, I think, in any collection. So anyway, I do really love this one. I'm gonna try and make it a little bit bigger here, but of course, most of you are familiar with this. Uusi being the creator, there's certainly just a lot of amazing imagery in this deck, and of course, the card stock and the feel of the cards is incredible, but there's so much depth here. This one can be a bit of a challenge in that respect sometimes. Um, Although, you know, very clearly illustrated, a lot of really interesting imagery used to expand upon just the basic suits and symbols and counts, the numbers on each. Um, we really find some concepts that are being expanded upon here, versus maybe an RWS, standard RWS, just a different view. Of course, lots of great imagery in the original. So uh, that one probably was the first time, and the reason it makes it on this list was during 2022. It's the first time I felt like maybe there could be something like a soul deck for me, and that one certainly is going to always hold a special place for me. Whether or not it's a soul deck or not, I'm not sure, but regardless, it's quite incredible. So another one along those lines is, and again, this won't come as a surprise for people that have watched my channel before, Oak, Ash, and Thorn from Three Trees Tarot. It's just Really incredible deck. Imagery is amazing. Of course, they've come out now with the pocket edition as well, and I do have that. It's nice and portable, and I liked having both sizes. If nothing else, it serves as a backup deck for me, and I like the fact that it can be a backup deck in a slightly different form. I think there's something to be said for that, but it's hard to argue with the beauty and depth and just the craftsmanship that went into making this beautiful deck. It is amazing, and it was my first animal deck. So that's what made it a moment for me. And I wasn't sure how that would go, if it would be something that would resonate with me, and if I could work with it and so on. But I had shortly after I received it, um, there were some rough things going on with my family, with health and things, and I went to a park one morning, early in the morning, and I took that deck with me, and it was the first time I really made an honest attempt at connecting with it at a deeper level. And sure enough, I did a reading that was just spot on. It was amazing just to I really felt the energy of the deck, the intention from the artist, kind of flowing through the cards and through the surroundings. And it was quite a comforting thing. And I think that's an energy that is maybe in some ways, sometimes it's more possible through a deck that doesn't have people. Because we are so programmed to have a certain type of response to images of people that I think there are times when people can be limiting as an image in a card versus an animal. Of course, people will see animals that way as well. So it's a very personal thing, and it's so highly subjective, just like all things tarot and oracle. Definitely subjective. Everybody's going to have a different feel for the decks and how they play out, but ultimately, I do think there's a place for animal decks for me that I didn't know I had, and that is the softer side of reading, and that personal connection that isn't confronted with some sort of unintentional bias that comes from seeing pictures of humans, I guess is a way to put it. So that was Oak, Ash, and Thorn, and pretty special deck. Quite a moment for me with that one this year. So that's why it certainly makes the cut. Next for me, another moment deck. It's the Jean Dodal Tarot de Marseille from Artisan Tarot. Beautiful deck. This is one that basically was reworked by Artisan Tarot from the original Dodal. Just sort of a they go through and I forget what the wording is they use exactly, but they artfully it's not recreate. I wish I could remember that term they use, but they essentially renew this imagery to print their modern decks. Beautiful linen card stock. They do a really nice job of creating an experience with these cards. But this deck, the reason it was a moment for me is it was the first time I connected with Marseille in a deeper way. And some of the credit for that goes to some of there's certainly quite a few channels out there that have touted Marseille, but Enrique Enriquez, a lot of his content, the movie Tarology and his books have all been inspirations, and I think allowed me some mental freedom, I guess, to look at the cards in a different way that is particularly good for Marseille practice. So, Marseille basically, and this deck, the Dodal in particular, was the one that I first experienced that flow state where I really genuinely just felt the meaning of the cards jumping out, and I was caught off guard because being used to RWS, I didn't expect that with Marseille. I thought I would have to memorize a lot more about numbers, numerology, etc., and underlying meanings. Maybe carry over some of what I learned about RWS, and but then try to remember it um, without any triggers from the typical images that we're used to. And in this case, it sort of jumped out at me in a really special way, and a lot of that I credit to uh, Enrique Enriquez and his approach and how I was able to pick up on that. So that was pretty special. Another one that is very special to me, for a few reasons, is the Two Penny Oracle. Um, the Two Penny Oracle is one that I already had, of course. Probably be familiar with Madame Clara's other deck, and this is the 5 cent tarot. So I already had the 5 cent tarot, and I love it. And I was looking at the Madame Clara website and store on Etsy, and I thought this. I was intrigued by the Two Penny Oracle, but I didn't have it, and I thought, well, maybe this is one because I didn't use a lot of oracles, and I thought maybe this is one I should just hop on YouTube and see what I can find there that may help me to make a decision. And so there's the backs, and I picked the silver with the silver gilding, which is, or maybe they call it gray, but it's a you get to choose basically when you order your deck, which I think is really neat. You can also choose a round deck as well, which is also pretty amazing that they make that opportunity. Um, anyway, so I looked up some flip throughs and I found Tarot Stash, Gerald's channel. He did a walkthrough on this a while ago. I don't remember exactly when. I think it's probably been maybe a year and a half at this point. But I watched his walkthrough and I hit order, and the rest is history. I I was I've been pretty inspired by the work that Gerald was doing on YouTube, and really enjoyed the lives and the collaborations and things, and reached out to him and was fortunate enough to be able to work with him on quite a few videos, and I've really enjoyed that. It's been an extremely um, valuable part of my experience on TarotTube. He's been a great mentor in a lot of ways, even if he doesn't know it or wasn't actively trying to do that. Just his mannerisms and his way of engaging with the community, I think, is pretty special and unique. And I credit this deck and his video of a flip through of it uh, with being able to make that connection. So pretty exciting. This one is a big one for me because it was a moment that maybe it wasn't directly related to me working with the deck, but it was more about me acquiring the deck and just learning more about it that actually ended up making that connection, which I think is pretty special. So, um, and then an extension on that is actually in this beautiful bag here. This is a deck from, many of you will know, Tanji, and she no longer has a channel, but she did have a channel on YouTube, and but still doing some work with lives and some readings, and which is great. So I really look forward to being able to continue to work with her. But Tanji she made a few of these, and I believe they're one of a kind. Um, they are National Geographic Oracle decks. So it's a very curated set of images. that she pulls from National Geographic and creates these oracles, and I think they're really well done. It's just beautiful, and it became, well, it came to me, because she was selling some boxes of, it was a mystery box, basically, so you didn't know exactly what you were gonna get in it, but it was going to include, I think in all cases, it included one of these, and it's so special because it is one of a kind, and she put her energy into it, and created this really special oracle. We did some readings with it, live, which was, just wonderful. Really great experience. Myself and Gerald and Ben and Tanji, we all did readings with these, and I think, uh, just a really unique experience, and beautifully crafted and curated deck there. So again, the sense of community, having another thing that brought me closer to others that I would have never, had the chance to meet otherwise, because we're all in different areas, um, and so to be able to reach across the vast spaces and connect on something like this is pretty incredible. And on that note as well, this is another one that, Alchemy by Kim Krans, part of the Wild Unknown series. It's the fourth and final edition, or installment of the Wild Unknown series. The reason this one is especially, special to me is not necessarily because of the work I do with it, because it is very challenging, and it's not one that I've had a lot of time to work with or energy, but I do very much look forward to doing that at some point. Um, Beautiful box. Packaging is pretty incredible here. But the reason this one's special to me is because, early on in my channel, and I guess you could even say now is still early on in my channel, but early days, I started, so I got the Wild Unknown, the original Wild Unknown, um, tarot, and I I was struggling with it a little bit, but inspired by um, especially Kim Krans's books, the way she was drawing connections and things. Just, I thought it was really interesting, and I wanted to give it more time, and so I moved on to the Animal Spirit deck, and of course, once you head down a path, you just keep heading down the path, um, and then I found out, of course, that the Alchemy deck was coming out. She also, has the Archetype deck, which, um, was installment number 3. Um, yeah, well, you get the point. Installment number 3 in the Wild Unknown series. So then came Alchemy, and Alchemy I thought was a neat opportunity because it was the first time that I was gonna be able to catch on to a deck like this coming out at release with a little bit of advance notice, finding out that the deck was coming out, and I thought, "Well, why not do a giveaway?" I know when the release is coming, I can go ahead and try and pick up, an extra copy and do a giveaway on my channel. I was enjoying doing the lives, and I thought it'd be a fun, uh well, I was getting into the lives basically right at that time, and, I thought it'd be a really fun thing to do. So I did, and had a blast with that, and have also connected with, the winner of that. You may have heard on one of my other videos that we are doing a Slack channel now. If you haven't used Slack, it's a messaging forum that was designed for business, that I thought would be a really neat thing for us as a tarot community to start using. So the person who won is now part of that, and we have some other great members in there, and it's growing but slow. And I'd love to see more people join in the fun. So if that's something you'd be interested in, um, actually you can email me and ask for an invitation to it. It is by invite only. That's just the way Slack is designed. We're not necessarily intentionally doing, but it also does offer a layer of protection for us as members and people in the community, people who regularly watch these videos, participate in any way. Um, certainly are free to join. We just would like to keep out, some of the people that would be, the bots that come in to wreck our chats and things during lives and stuff. So anyway, so that's a bit of a side note, but this was a deck that allowed me to connect at another level with the community because I did this giveaway and had just a blast doing that. And I also attended the release workshop that Kim Krans did right after it came out. So that was pretty amazing. It was a great opportunity to just learn from the creator directly, and it was pretty interesting how they structured that, and it really was designed to help people connect with the deck. So I'd like to watch that again, maybe quite a few times to see if I can learn more and connect a little deeper. And I think it'd be amazing if someone, I would love to do it. Um, but if anyone in our community would maybe have uh, an opportunity to have Kim on as a guest, I think would be pretty amazing too. So be a great way to learn more about it. Um, so so that is Alchemy. Another deck. I only have two more for now. I think I'll leave it there. So I have two more that I think were just a blast for me. Moon Baby Tarot from Brant, the creator. Um, this one was so much fun because I had heard about this deck from others on different channels. I think Simon's channel, Hermit's Cave, was the first I heard of Brant. Um, Brant Palazzo. Yeah, Brant Palazzo. Um, First time I heard of Brant and their work, and I think just loved the color scheme and the reworking of this, the hoi polloi tarot. Um, Look at this edging; it's just can't get enough of it. I love it. It's all like avocado green, or I'm not sure what you call it, but just such the '70s feel, um, but also very modern in a lot of ways. So a great mashup between that '70s aesthetic and something about it pulls it into today. So I really love this, and when I found out that there was gonna be this second edition coming out on, Kickstarter, I went in right away to back it as soon as I could, um, and received it a little early. I think it came a little earlier than it was expected to. But it was also during I think this showed up at a time when I was, kind of a little bit away from TarotTube for a bit, and, um, and it kinda kickstarted me, like, got pulled me back in a little bit. Very, very fun deck. Just some really great colors, great energy. It reads great too. I've had, and of course it's RWS, so very familiar if that's the system you typically work with. But um, those little subtle changes and the differences in colors and things like that can often make a deck just something special. And this certainly qualifies as something special in my book. So this one also came with, and I don't know if this is so you can still get this deck. I don't know that. I mean, really, other than the one of a kind from Tanji, the National Geographic Oracle. I don't think any of the decks that I'm showing are out of print. So I think you can still get everything. This one is available on, I believe it's on Brett's Etsy store. Um, but if you Google Moon Baby Tarot, you should be able to find it pretty readily. I think maybe even on Tarot Arts. Is it Tarot Arts? Maybe. I apologize. I don't have specifics on it, but it is available. So um, that is the penultimate. And then finally, another one that was a spin-off on the whole concept of animal decks that I got into is the Pacific Northwest Tarot. And this one I really from Brendan Marnell. This one I found. So I listened to a great interview on a podcast with the creator of this deck, and then also Krista from Crochet Witch and Tarot, I think is the name of her channel. Um, Featured this, and it is beautiful. Um, the feel of these cards, I can't even describe really accurately what this card stock is like. I've tried, and I think I've failed on every attempt because there's something special about it that I've not experienced with any other deck. I really can't compare it to anything. Look at this tower card, just beautiful. Definitely gives the feels. It could be a sunset in the background, but it certainly feels a lot more like a forest fire in that giant tree there. Um, so wonderful deck, and I saw others working with it, and when just kind of inspired by the imagery and the nice thing is the creator in the book tells stories that make the cards meaningful, and that's really a great thing that we see as a missing component in a lot of decks that don't strictly follow a system. The artist might have some really great vision and create something really special, but then um, that can get lost in translation if they put that art on the card and don't follow up with some sort of translation for us, the readers and the users. Then it's difficult. But in this case, the the creator traces back where the idea from these or for using each animal that they chose, which they're all native to the Pacific Northwest in the U.S. Um, they took that into story form in the book and gave us a nice explanation of in the form of a little narrative of why that animal lives on the card. So beautiful deck, and that is all I have. So there are more decks that of course you have moments with during a year, but some of them um, I've had moments with RWS decks several times this year, um, but the ones that stand out have these unique characteristics and just some really really great things that make them memorable. And so that fits, I believe, the idea behind this tag, and I had a blast doing it. So I do really appreciate Dawn Michelle putting this out there, and I am happy to have been able to participate. So hope you all enjoy and have a wonderful day.